Hey, this video is going to be reviewing the August Smart Lock for Airbnb hosts. We've been using the lock for a little over a year now, and we've developed a list of pros and cons of what we like and what we don't like about the lock. And yeah, we're going to share that with you in the video. So to give you a little bit of background on how we got into looking at smart locks, we were relatively new to hosting, about 2 or 3 months, and one of the things that we noticed were guests were either losing our key, they were leaving with it in their pockets or their bags, or we were having trouble transferring keys between guests. So we did our research, and one of the cheaper options that we came across was using a Bluetooth tracker. And so the one that we purchased was the tracker, and it uses Crowd GPS to locate your belongings. So we attached it to our key, and we used that for a couple weeks. And what we found was the product was unfortunately very unreliable. The battery life on it was not great. It would constantly lose connection, even though we were 5 feet away from the key trying to find it on our phones with the app. We would reset it and it still wouldn't work. So yeah, we kind of got away from Bluetooth trackers, and that's where we started to look at possible smart locks to use on our house. And obviously these are a little bit more expensive than the Bluetooth trackers, but again, a lot more reliable, and we'll go into the pros and cons of the August Smart Lock, which was the product we decided to go with. So first up are the pros, and we're going to start with, first of all, no lost keys. No more do we have to worry about our key floating around and people finding it. We also don't have the cost associated with rekeying the door or buying a replacement key. So that is definitely a win, and increased safety because no one can copy your key. Next up is we can control access times with the smart lock. So we can say check-in time is 5 p.m. and the smart lock will not open the door until 5 p.m. And this works great because before, with a standard key in a lockbox, once you give that guest the code, you really don't know if they're going to come at check-in time. They could come way before if they wanted to. So having that access and ability to control access times, not only check-in but also check-out, was very helpful. Another thing that we liked about the August Smart Lock is that it gives you a log of when the door is locked and unlocked with the app, or manually unlocked with someone using their hand. And this is nice because if you're leaving and going to work and your guest is leaving after you, you want to make sure that they were able to successfully check out. So being able to see a log of when the door was locked and when that guest left is nice. It's a convenience. Not only that, you can get a August Connect, or you can get the August HomeKit enabled smart lock, and this will give you the status of your lock. So maybe your guest leaves and you're like, oh, I wonder if they locked the front door. You can check the status of the lock. So it's either going to show red that the door is actually locked or green that it's unlocked. And then going off that, one of the things that we noticed were, because the smart lock, it's new to guests, and they were leaving the house when no one was home and forgetting to lock the front door. Now this is a problem because obviously you don't want your house to be broken into and the door unlocked all day. But one of the nice features about the August Smart Lock is that it has an auto lock function. So you can set it to have a 1-minute auto lock, a 3-minute auto lock, or a 5-minute auto lock. So we have it set to 3 minutes. So once the door has been unlocked, the smart lock has been unlocked, and once it's in that green or unlocked position for 3 minutes, it will then try and lock itself. And this is very handy. I can't tell you how many times we've had people leave our door unlocked, but the auto lock kicks in at 3 minutes and locks it for them. So super handy. We love that function. Another thing is that you can remotely connect to the lock. So say a guest calls you or they're borrowing a phone from someone, their phone battery's died, and they say, "Hey, I can't get in the house." You can connect to your lock remotely and unlock it for them. So that's another nice feature. Uh, Also, one of the things that we had a hard time with was if someone wanted to check in or drop their bags off early and another guest wanted to leave later, trying to coordinate that key transfer between guests could be tricky. So we didn't have to deal with that anymore. Now we could adjust the guest access on their phone to either start earlier or later, and we didn't have to worry about guests trying to transfer keys between each other or trying to coordinate when to put it in the lockbox or what. So that was a nice thing. Also, August has partnered with Airbnb, so when a guest books your listing, they will get an automatic email from August, and it'll give them detailed instructions on how to set up an August account and link it to their Airbnb account. And this is handy because it takes the process off of your hands. So once the guest sets that up, their access time will match the check-in time on your listing and the checkout time on your listing as well, and the dates they've booked for. So no longer do you have to send an individual invitation to each guest. August does that for you, and when the guest is set up, their times match their reservation. Also, what's nice about this smart lock is that it retrofits over your existing lock. So you just take the hardware off the back, put it on, and you don't have to physically get a new key for your door, which is awesome. And finally, there's no need for a lockbox. Obviously, you're not using a physical key anymore, so you don't have to store your A key in the lockbox. And this was nice because we were constantly changing the lock code on the lockbox just so no one would come back and have access to our house. So those are the pros. Since this video is starting to get a little long, I'm going to go ahead and make a second video covering the cons of the smart lock. So just look for that one, and it'll cover all of the negatives that we've come across during using the smart lock.